Very good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Neha Dubey, Assistant Professor at SIRTE in the Department of MBA. Once again, welcome you all in the continuation of Managerial Economics lecture series. Today, I'm going to discuss the topic of principles of managerial economics. So let's start with the principles. There are the certain principles which are divided into three categories with the subheads, which uh, which combinedly makes the principles of managerial economics. The great macroeconomist and Gregory McCube has given 10 principles to explain the significance of managerial economics in a business operations. What are the principles? The three major categories. The first principle of how people make decisions. So when the people are making decisions, so which on which category they are going to make the decisions, like the people face trade-offs, opportunity cost, rational people think at the margin, and people respond to the incentives. These are the certain subheads or the area where the decision making has to be involved. Now the principles of how people interact. So there are the trade can make everyone better off, market are usually a good way to organize economic activity, and government can sometimes improve the market outcomes. And the third one is the principle of how economy work as a whole. So a country's standard of living depends on its ability to produce goods and the services, and prices rise when the government prints too much money, and society faces a short-run trade-off between inflation and unemployment. So one by one, now we will discuss in a brief form. Like the first one is the principles of how people make decisions. To understand how the decision making takes place in a real life, and let us go through the following principles. First point is the people face trade-off. What is that? To make decisions, people have to make choices where they have to select among the various options available. Like every day we are choosing, or we are doing the things, or we are going through these principles when we have a certain needs or the desires which we have want to fulfill, but due to the scarcity we have to prioritize the things. First we have to choose one thing which we are going to fulfill as per our resources available to us. So this is the people face trade-off option. Opportunity cost is what? The every decisions involves an opportunity cost, which the cost of those options which we let go while selecting the most appropriate one. When we are selecting the priorities or the on the basis of our choice, the first choice. So the something which are compromised or something which are letting go. So which cost is involved of that option which are letting go. So this is known as the opportunity cost. Now the rational people think at the margin. People usually think about the margin or the profit they will earn before investing their money or resources at a particular project or person. Every person, every human being wants to earn more and more. Means when someone is investing in some project, so definitely they want higher return on investments. So here what is involvement? The rational people thinking. When the people are rationally think about the margin or the profit margin, and they then decided when and how much amount of money has to be invested in which project. So the choices making between this is done through the rational people think at that margin principle. Now the people respond to the incentives. Definitely. How is it possible? Decision making highly depends upon the incentives associated with a product, services, or activity. Negative incentives discourage the people, and whereas the positive incentives motivate them. We are very much aware about this principle. When we get the positive incentives on the basis of we perform the certain things, so we definitely feel motivated, and vice versa is also applicable. When we do something or we get the negative thing, so we feel discouraged, we feel means demotivated for doing that task. Okay, now the second principle is the principle of how people interact. The communication and the market affect business operation. To justify the statement, let us see the following related principle. Trade can make everyone better off. This principle says that trade is a medium of exchange among people. Everyone gets a chance to offer those products or the services which they are good at making and purchase those products or services too which others are good at manufacturing. Definitely we are the consumer, we are the buyer, so we make the choices and we want or we purchase that thing which are means the quality of that product or services are too good, and definitely the manufacturer or the everyone means the as per the buyer's choice or the supplier's choice or the manufacturer's choice, everyone is following this. They are doing as per their good quality or the good services they can provide to their customers. Okay, so trade where it is possible, this is the or the market is the where the exchange is possible. Exchanges of what? Exchange of the money, exchange of the product, exchange of the services. So there is a market and the trade is providing this medium for exchanging the things. Now, the next principle is market are usually a good way to organize economic activity. Definitely, the market mostly act as a medium of interaction among the customers or the consumers and producers. The consumer express their needs and the requirement, that is the demand, and whereas the producers decide whether to produce goods or the services required or not. So, the market is providing market is providing the way where economic activity can be possible. Now, government can sometimes improve the market outcomes. Many examples are there in during the current situation is also the number of examples are there where the government can means government intervenes the business operation. Why? At the time of unfavorable market conditions for the welfare of society. So one such example is when the government decides minimum wages for the labor welfare, जो कि हम इससे काफी अवेयर है. And the principles of the third principle is the how economy work as a whole. The following principles explains the role of economy in the functioning of an organization. A country's standard of living depends on its ability to produce goods and the services. For the government of the economy of a country, the organizations must be efficient enough to produce goods and the services. It ultimately meet the consumer's demand and improves GDP to raise the country's standard of living. Every country, when they are producing on their within the national boundaries of their nation, and the consumers or the buyers produce they purchase from that manufacturer, so ultimately the currency is going within the nation, so it will definitely help us to improve the GDP rate. And GDP, when the GDP rate is improved, then country's standard of living automatically gets raised up. The second principle of this category is prices rise when the government prints too much money. Of course, ये जब when we realize that too much amount of things are available, so definitely it will be help. It will be cause the increase in the prices or the inflation. How is it possible? If there are the surplus money, assume that available with the people, okay, so their spending capacity increases, ultimately leading to a rise in the demand. And when the producers are unable to meet the consumer demand, so inflation takes place. So, and the last principle of last category is society faces a short-term trade-off between inflation and unemployment. To reduce unemployment, the government brings in a various economic policies into action. And these policies aim at boosting the economy in the short run, such as the practices lead to the inflation. Okay, every time the government makes certain policies so that the situation of a country's economy can be improved, like they provide they design certain policies which can be help into create the employment, so that it will be help us to create a trade-off between the inflation or the unemployment. So this is all about the principles of managerial economics. So we will continue with the next topic in the next lecture. Till now, have a nice day and thank you.